I did pull up my quick market analysis that is by the people that you were talking about, people that speak at like ultra high level. And then I have to break it down real quick. It comes out daily and you can get a copy of it too. It's linked in my Instagram bio. If you want it, it'll be in your inbox. But going back to what Nias was talking about and just digesting it and breaking it down to smaller pieces is where people and the consumer are going to understand it. From today's post on it, it did say a couple of good things for the third straight week that mortgage applications are rising. So that's kind of a good sign. And when people hear that, there's like a mental like theory of if everybody else is standing in line, like, why am I not standing in line? Shouldn't I be standing in line? Like, what am I doing wrong? So I do think that that could be just, I don't want to say a hook, but kind of a reality tip where it's like, hey, everybody else is doing it. Like, why aren't you doing it? From the applications that are coming across my desk on both the purchase and refinance level, there's a lot of consumer debt out there. Like it is insane. And not everybody can just, nobody wants to jump out of their 2%. So if you are talking to maybe a seller, like I said, no one wants to jump out of their 2%. They might have a ton of consumer debt. And, I do home equity lines of credit, but not everybody qualifies for a home equity line of credit. So what options does that person have? That person might need to sell their home and move on and downsize. I mean, get their lump sum from the proceeds of the sale, wipe out their debt, and then roll over the next to another property at maybe a smaller payment. Time to stop living in that 3,000 square foot house that you can't afford anymore. So I think that from a lending standpoint, I really like knowing what people's options are. Like that is kind of a thing. Like, what are your options? You can keep living and paying thousands of dollars in debt or monthly on these credit cards that are 30%, or you can sell the house, get out of all that, fresh restart, maybe not live in that big house anymore, and let's get you into something better. So that's one thing that I'm seeing.
So let me pause you for a second, because we've been talking a lot about this, that sellers need to understand that maybe it's diversification is the best route for them, but also being able to determine, like, based on their scenario of debt, that might be the motivating reason for them to need to sell, to clear out all of that, and then to purchase a smaller home, and then maybe a new city, maybe a new state. And I think that we're not thinking as universal as we need to think, especially in this changing market, right? That might be a factor. Or have you seen people taking an equity line of credit out to purchase income properties?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Financing on investment properties right now is non-existent. I literally mean that. Like, the amount of points that we have to charge on an investment property, even if someone's putting 25% down, it like is right up on the high cost threshold, right? So we can't even do that loan because it costs too much. And this isn't a me thing. I'm hoping Christina will get my back on this, but it is literally an industry-wide thing where investors, where we get our money from, that the money to keep lending is so expensive that even at 25% down, it's hard to do that loan. I mean, we could do it, but that rate is going to be crazy, and there's going to be probably like 4 points on the deal. So, but that's the reality of it. So it's getting tougher and tougher to lend on investment properties. That is a fact. But on the flip side there, if people can borrow from their primary residence and pull out a HELOC, like we could do that loan all day long, no high cost issues there. Use that cash, go buy an investment property. So that is the play. I'm telling you guys, I'm pricing out investment properties all the time, and it is a darn near dead deal. But a HELOC is the way to go.
Let me ask you a question in regards to a HELOC. Let's just go 6 months back. Like, what has been the influx of amount of people applying for a HELOC loan?
It's debt, man. It's consumer debt is at an all-time high. So they want to consolidate that. They don't want to get rid of their 2%. People are going to go where they're, what's that statement? But you're only as faithful as your options. Like, what are my options here? And that's why people are defaulting to that HELOC option to just get rid of that consumer debt. But not everybody qualifies. I have about 4 applications in here where I need to put them together and make sure that they fit that box. And if they don't fit that box, what's the option? Put it on the market, maybe roll the rest of that equity over to a new property. That is my thought.
All right, cool. So let me ask you a quick question, because you do really good with your hooks on social media, and so does Christina. And so I'm glad
Thank
that
you.
both of you are here, because, you know, obviously we're a very social team. So if you were to create a hook for a seller in regards to a HELOC, what would you frame that? How would you frame that hook if you were to create something right now for people to ask more questions about a HELOC?
Man, where my ghostwriters at, man? I'm just kidding. So, all right. So HELOC. Shoot, man, can I get a couple minutes and just?
Yeah, no, come back to that, and then and
All right.
ask AI or do whatever you got to do,
All
right?
right.
And then we'll come back to you. But
All right.
I'm in need of a HELOC. Okay, cool. So I see this. And then Dominique says, I have a couple that just set up a Zoom call with me about appraisal value because they are doing a HELOC. So Art, back to the original question.
Yeah.
Have you seen the percentage of applications for HELOCs go up over the course of the last 6 months since interest rates have been a lot higher?
I'm doing 1 to 2 a day. My team is all doing 1 to 2 a day. They're not massive. I mean, there might be 100,000, they might be 400,000. But going back to that appraisal, by the way, so we run an AVM on those types of scenarios. That's an automated appraisal. A computer just spits out a value. And I'm noticing, because I'm friends with everybody in the industry. I know where their HELOCs are at. A lot of credit unions will stop at 80% loan to value ratio, and we'll go up to 95 with someone that has good credit score. So that gives us another 15% in what we can lend to people. So I'd want to see that application and see if, you know, maybe that lender was capped at 80% when there's someone like me that can go up to 95. And not only that, them getting an appraisal to me is a red flag. I want to know why they went that route. Typically, we start at that AVM, and then if there's a huge disparity in value between what they think on that AVM or what that AVM comes back and what the, you know, buyer thinks, then we're gonna get the appraisal. So that one might be in troubled waters more than you think. So just tidbit there.